How's it going, everyone over at New OD? I'm now at another externship site. I've since moved across the country to Colorado, where I'm at my third clinical externship. It's been a good experience so far. The second day at the site, the whole office switched over to electronic medical records, which has been a joy to work with, and just kind of trying to get all the kinks worked out with the system. Any of you that have used or switched over to electronic records understand the need for them, how well they allow the office to function faster, but also the struggle of implementing them and getting them functioning the way you like them. With most of my videos, I usually have a question, and with this video, my question is, what EHR do you use, and what is the pros and cons for that EHR that you use? So just leave a comment in the end of this video, wherever you see this video posted, and let me know. With the rest of this video, I just want to share with you a presentation that Gary Gerber gave at our school a couple of weeks ago. It's just going to be kind of like the bits and pieces. If you want to check out the full video, go to my YouTube channel and you can see the live Google Hangout that we performed at the presentation. Dr. Gerber is the owner and founder of the Power Practice. Their website is powerpractice.com. On here you can see a list of the different consultants they work with to allow doctors to achieve their personal and professional dreams. You can also see a list of their services. They have a list of different services here that can help any eye doctor and wherever they might be, whether it's established practice or a new practice or starting a practice. They also have a new thing they started called the Power Hour. It's every Wednesday night. It's a hour-long radio show. You can go to this link here and you can learn more about it. You can listen from any cell phone or through Skype on any computer. He also posts all the old shows online as a podcast, so if you ever want to listen to those in your free time, you can. Now I'll just get started with the rest of his presentation. Here it is. Enjoy.
This is our topic, the 5 practice building secrets every student must know now to succeed in practice later. You're going to hear from other practice building guys, from other optometrists, from other professors. They're going to define optometry, and it's going to be optometry according to them. Optometry to how they practice or practiced, past tense, how they think you should practice. I'm not saying they're wrong. So I'm going to ask you to challenge, not verbally. I don't want you to verbally challenge your professors because I want you to graduate, but intellectually and amongst yourselves and in your private practice club, when a speaker comes up here and says, here's what you should do, I think you say, well, what if I did this instead? What if I didn't do it that way? And if you don't start to think like that, not that this is bad, but you're going to wind up with the middle of the bell curve practice like every other. Visualization. Anybody going through any sports vision, VT sort of training here? Have you done that yet? You guys have? Just talk about visualization, the studies with the free throw shooters thinking they can shoot. Okay. Sports vision, which is kind of a subset or tree branch of VT, deals a lot with athletes, goes in sports, and there's data out there, there's studies to show if you sit down with an athlete and you walk them through verbally the process of performing their skill versus an athlete who doesn't get that, and assuming they start out at the same level, the ones who visualized everything wind up being better at their sport. So it's one of these eye-brain, I'm not a sports vision guy, so my terminology is off. It's one of these eye-brain, proprioceptive, muscle memory kind of things. And it's trainable, and there's science to support it. And it goes on in things other than sports vision. So if I said to you, what does your perfect practice look like? Could you answer that? Not just where is it? Well, it's in the suburbs of Philly. Well, where? It's in a strip shopping center. Where? What's it look like? What's the sign look like? When I open up the door, this is a weird one, but it's important. What does it smell like? You know why that's important? If I said, I'm going to say one word, and you're going to get a scent. Dentist. So there's a dentist in New Zealand, famous dentist. His name is Paddy Lund, Paddilund. You should Google him. If it's on Google, it must be true. So when you walk into his office, you know what you smell? You don't smell that dental smell, that sterilizer thing that they use. You smell muffins, because he bakes muffins. Which dentist, everything else being the same, which dentist you want to go to? The muffin guy or the smelly dentist guy? when you walk into your office, what do you hear? Do you hear AC/DC like we had in my office because I liked having fun? But that was the culture of the office. Or do you hear classical music because you have seniors? Or if you're doing pediatric VT, do you have like Sesame Street music playing? So you have to start to think of these things. What about your staff? What's your perfect staff person look like? Speak? How are they dressed? And this helps you when you start to put your firm plans together for a practice. You'll call guys like us and you say, okay, I graduated. I want to open up a practice. What do I do? I'm going to say to you, well, what kind of practice do you want? And if you start thinking about this now, and you start recording it, memorializing it, there's no reason, just like the basketball players, you won't have better success later. But if you want to have, for example, a high-end medical OCT, retinal photography sort of practice, and your space is in the King of Prussia Mall, you probably won't do so well as if you're in a nondescript, hard-to-find, low-rent medical building. Something you need to think about. So you have to know where do you want to finish. Now here's the thing, when you graduate school, if you choose to go into private practice, you may not get here in the first stop. You may say, look, the King of Prussia Mall is where I got to go because that's affordable, and that medical building I love to be in is not, but that's where you want to go. So you're taking baby steps to get there. At least you know where you want to finish. If you visualize what your successful practice looks like, which is a tangible thing, and some of you have 3 years to think about this, even if you have a year, do you believe me now you think your success will be greater than if you don't visualize it? Is that fair? It's one of those things where you have to challenge what you may hear from somebody else. And if you don't get a lot of eyeglass experience, which is pretty typical in the schools, you get a lot of eye experience but not glasses, your patients are going to remember the experience and the environment more so than which is better, one or two. Here's what you need to think about. If I'm a patient, I get an eye exam from you, and I get an eye exam from you. I'm a patient. I'm not an optometrist. And I sit down, and you put the phoropter in front of me, which I don't know what's called a phoropter. In my world, it's the 1 or 2 machine. And you ask me which is better, 1 or 2, and you ask me which is better, 1 or 2, and somebody says, who gave you the better eye exam? How can I possibly answer that? Aren't all 1 or 2 machines the same? So all I can answer is the method and the experience and the surroundings that made the 1 or 2 machine event happen. So how was I greeted in the office? How did the office look, smell, taste, feel, sound? All those things. How was your staff? Did your staff get it? Did they connect with me as a person? Or was I just, there's a cornea in room 3? So those are the things, when you go to hire somebody, these are the pieces that you're going to have to think about. We train our doctors that we work with to hire personality and train the skill, which is an incredibly unnerving thing to do, especially when you're starting out, because you may feel like, you know what, I really need help with the skill. But then when you go to hire people, that's where it becomes really important, to find people that can get you to that level of connection with your patients. If you want to weird patients out, like I just weirded you guys out, just be nice. Because the level of customer service every place on earth is so poor, if you focus on it slightly, you will win the game, and you'll have this monster practice because you visualized it, you practiced it, and you weren't afraid to challenge the unconventional. Are you guys dealing yet with insurance plan stuff, like in the dispensary? Have you heard these words out of a patient's mouth? I just want what the plan covers. Has that happened in your world yet? A couple of you? This is called listening between the lines. You know what I just want what the plan covers means? It means I want value for my money. It means I would like to spend this much money, and I want to get this much of a product, of a service. I don't want to spend this much money and get this. That would be very, very bad. It's value. They want value. And through experience, you learn to listen between the lines with patients. Now, one of the challenges you have as a doctor, and even as a student, as an intern, is patients are intimidated by you. And our last secret, we talked a little bit about the patient experience with regard to your staff. Now what I want to talk about is you under the context of the patient experience. You as the symphony conductor, orchestrator, CEO, boss, head honcho, top dog, top gun, top banana of your practice that cost you $200,000 of loan money to be able to open just for your education, plus another $300,000 for the practice. It's your practice. You are in charge for the music you play, the rhetorical music you play in your practice. It's up to you to set the stage for the patient experience. And I can tell you, having physically walked into more than 1,000 offices, that the patient experience is way more important to your success than the clinical prowess that you have. And to do that, you have to think about your purpose versus a task. You have multiple tasks, but you should just have one purpose. And you need to focus on that purpose to set yourself apart and make that purpose very, very patient-driven, patient-directed. The tasks that we do when you guys are about to open up a practice or buy a practice, and you say, what do you guys do? Well, the tasks, we're going to help you evaluate a profit and loss statement. We're going to help you look at tax returns. If you want to open up a practice, we'll help you find the location. We'll help you negotiate your lease. We'll make sure you don't get ripped off when you buy equipment, frames, or anything else that you need to buy. Those are the tasks. But our purpose is to make sure you achieve your dream, whatever that may be. So these are the 5 things that we spoke about. Now, what I didn't talk about you have to have a recall system. You have to have an OCT. That stuff, man, you get that from anybody. These are the things you really got to focus on. This higher level stuff, now is the time you want to be thinking about this. The other things will fall into place if you have this as your foundation. To help you implement these, I want to tell you about some of the things we can do for you. We have a program specifically for students called a Practice Made Perfect program. And it helps you with all those tasks that I was talking about. Once we get to know you, what your dreams are, what your aspirations are, we put all the tasks in a row for you to make sure that you will succeed and reach your dreams. You go to our Facebook page, our Facebook group. It's Practice Made Perfect. This is how you contact us: website, Facebook, Twitter. If you're still using a phone, you can call us.